Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about how and why or who takes the policy decisions. The main heading of the chapter is known as working of the institutions. So, Constitution itself explains about various institutions like Parliament, Supreme Court, Prime Minister is an institution, President's office of President and Prime Minister. So, how these institutions work? What is an institution? An organized setup. A school also is called an institution because there's an organization. There's a day-to-day function. So we are going to discuss about how is a major policy decision taken. You know, nowadays strike is going on by the farmers. The farmers of India are unhappy with the law passed by the Parliament of India. Parliament has passed 3 laws. The farmers who are striking are telling that those 3 laws are not helping the farmers. They are against the desires or plans or ambitions of the farmers. So they are on strike. They are requesting the government to repeal or remove all the 3 laws passed by the Parliament. You know, the power to make a law in the country is in the hands of the Parliament. And the Parliament has the power to repeal also any law that is made. So before that order of the Parliament comes out, there are a lot of process behind it. So that's the policy of the government on agricultural activities that has come out as a law, as order of the Parliament. So like that we are going to discuss about a bill or a law that was passed by government in 1990. It is concerning the reservation of the people, OBC reservation, other backward community, economically backward class in civil post and civil services. The Constitution has already guaranteed reservation for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people. You know, 22.5% of seats are reserved, 15 for scheduled caste and 7.5 for scheduled tribe. Total 22.5% of seats are reserved in all the government sectors except defense. Education institutions also, in jobs also. So they are asking the reservation, and it was granted. So that process of granting the reservation to the scheduled OBC people. That's what is being discussed in our textbook. The order comes out signed by an under-secretary in the Ministry of Personal and Public Grievances and Pensions. So the order is coming out by them. The Government of India appointed a committee in the year 1979 under the chairmanship of B.P. Mandal. So we call that commission as a Mandal Commission. Usually commissions are known in the name of the person who heads the commission. So the commission was given the responsibility to study the backward class situations. Second backward classes commission in 1979, and the commission, after studying the socio-economic and educational situation of the other backward caste people or class people, submitted its report in 1980. And the commission has recommended 27% reservation for the OBC. So already 22.5% is there and this 27. So total it will come 49.5% reservation. Now in 1980 the report was submitted, but the governments that came after 1980 did not do much on it. They did not implement the recommendation. In 1989 elections, Janata Dal Party under leadership of Vishwanath Pratap Singh, VP Singh, announced that if Janata Dal comes to power, it will implement the recommendations of Mandal Commission. Naturally, the OBC people in group voted for Janata Dal, and Janata Dal came to power. So as Janata Dal came to power, when a new government comes up, the president will address the parliament, first session of the parliament. Usually, president addresses the budget session every year. Other than that, the president addresses the first session of the new government that comes up. So in the presidential address to the parliament, the president has told the government intents or things of implementing Mandal Commission report. Here you must understand, the speech given by the president to the parliament is not the words of the president. They are the words of the government or the prime minister and the cabinet. So he becomes the part of the government. So he has to speak as per the request made by the government. So he spoke in the parliament that government intends to implement the recommendations of Mandal Commission. So that's a recommendation. It is not that it is implemented. That's a plan. On 6th August 1990, there was a cabinet meeting presided over by the then Prime Minister Vishwanath Pratap Singh, we call him as VP Singh, and announced that, or the decision was taken that Mandal Commission recommendations would be implemented. And next day in the Parliament, the Prime Minister announced the decision. So you must understand, the Commission had given the report in 1980. After 10 years, the report is being implemented. Now, announcement has come. Naturally, VP Singh and his party is having majority members in the Parliament, so they can take a decision. And next day, the decision of the Parliament and the Cabinet was published through an order by the government, by the Secretary, Under Secretary in the Government of India. The order, office memorandum, it is known as office memorandum, dated 36012, 31st, 3190, and it has come on 13th August 1990. So naturally, when the policy decision has come out, we are just going to see some history. There were protests. Supporting movements were there, opposing movements were. So after all, lot of protest, others felt that it is an unfair. It's wrong, because when reservation comes, those who have worked hard and studied would not get the chance to get employment. But those who supported the reservation argued that the lower caste people were not recognized by the society. They were not treated equal by the upper caste members. Without the governmental support, the lower caste people are not able to confront to make the people to stand still or stand up and try able to walk along with the upper caste, then the reservation can be withdrawn. That was the intention of the reservation when it was implemented in 1950. The reservation was planned only for 10 years. Because Ambedkar and team thought within 10 years Indian society would be changed. The people would be able to stand up, or Indian society will be a developed society treating everybody equally. But we know after so many years also, Indian society has not drastically changed. The caste mindset is still prevail in the minds of the Indian people. So that is what. So that caste mindset has to come out of Indian people's mind. Then we can understand Indian society would progress. So that is protest, counter-protest. Then people went to Supreme Court stating that the reservation policy is against the Constitution. Because Constitution tells all the citizens are equal. And the same Constitution has gone reservation, and again reservation is being made, so the Constitution is not respected. Say a person named Indira Sohani and others, many have complained to Supreme Court. Since Indira Sohani was the first person to give complaint, a case came up in the name of Indira Sohani and others in the Supreme Court of India versus the Government of India. At last, Government of India accepted the decision of the government. At last, Supreme Court accepted the decision of Government of India, and reservation policy was accepted. The Supreme Court stated that the Parliament has got the power to decide for the reservations. It is not against right to equality. Right to equality has to be done by helping those people who are not able to have equality. So, Indira Sohani and team could not win any case in the case against the Government of India in that. Here you see the policy decision. That's what we must take, understand. A decision will be taken. First, the political party, when the election time they announced, then that political party after the election, when they came to power, they decided in the cabinet. Cabinet has, through the president, it announced in the parliament, and cabinet took a decision, and that decision was announced inside the parliament by the prime minister, and then a notification comes out in the name of a secretary, under secretary in the government. So it's a long process. That's a policy decision. You see, first the public discussions. After public discussion, the political party, particular political party decides that if we are given the power, if people vote us to power, we will implement the Mandal Commission. You see, so the policy decision first comes in the mind of the political party. That's a policy. And that political party was elected to power, they have agreed or they decided to continue with the promise they gave during the time of elections. So, the promises during the elections, it is not a compulsory for them to implement, but most of the political parties try to keep up the promise whatever they give during the election time. That's a normal procedure. So, the houses, both the houses they agreed, except were informed by the Prime Minister, and the government of India's officer publishes it. A person in the Department of Personnel and Training. Personnel and Training is concerned with the government officers and so. Appointments, everything. So, education institutions and public officers will have 27% reservations. That is a Mandal Commission report and its implementation. So we are concerned here mainly with the process, say persons involved. And when there was a dispute in that decision, the matter came to the Supreme Court. You know, Supreme Court is another institution which can decide a dispute. It has got original power to take decisions. But somebody has to come and complain. Otherwise also it can take a decision. So when Indira Sahani and team went to Supreme Court stating that the decision of the government is unconstitutional, then Supreme Court asked the government justify the decisions, whether it is constitutional or unconstitutional. So naturally, there were famous advocates who argued for both, and there will be government attorney general to argue for government. And ultimately, by hearing the arguments from both sides, Supreme Court gave the judgment supporting the decisions of the government. So the persons who are involved must understand Supreme Court involved, cabinet is involved, president is involved, government officials are involved in decision making process, and mainly the political parties involved. So that's a long process of it. So to take in why we need a political institution, that's another important discussion that we must have. Now we are going to discuss about political institutions. What is a political institution? Set up to run a government or a country. Political means concerned with the governmental activities. The persons who have to run the government, together we call political institutions. Parliament is there. Supreme Court is also part of political institution. The president, the cabinet, all group of people are part of political institutions. In that, ministers and secretaries also, government secretaries are called bureaucrats, civil servants, IAS officers. All those people are called civil servants or secretaries in the government of India. So they advise the government, they direct the government how to do what to do. They are bound to be persons who should not show any political affinity. Whichever party comes to power, they are bound to inform the government about the rules and regulations to the ministers and advise the ministers how to do the things and what to do. But the final decision on any matter depends upon the minister concerned. The minister concerned is responsible. The parliament asks the questions to the minister concerned and not to the secretaries. The cabinet secretary, the senior most IAS officer in the country, can sit in the cabinet meeting. He has to note down. So the cabinet secretary is the most powerful and the senior most IAS officer in the country. So that is, so Prime Minister, Civil Servant, Supreme Court, Parliament, all of them work together. And the civil servants are called permanent executive. The ministers are called political executive. Because the ministers are answerable to the parliament, and after the parliament, once in 5 years, they have to get elected by the people. So they are answerable to the people, they are answerable to the country for every action. That is what we are going to see tomorrow about the parliament. Thank you very much.